And we're back after a brief break. You're watching South Texas Now. We are here. We're going to jump right back into it with Judge Joe Benavides. He handles a lot of the youth, and we're here with broadcaster, community leader, father, and a gentleman who knows about being a father of special needs children, and we just interviewed him on that. But we're going to be talking about vaping, the gateways that lead up to it, social media pressures, and now the biggie. You guys brought up something during the break, which is Narcan, which is what we used to give in the emergency room to get people out of a huge heroin overdose or morphine or something, and now they're making it publicly accessible. What is wrong with this picture, Carlos?
Well, the judge talked a little bit about it when we were talking about the gates have been open, Joe. And it started with this other generation, and now they're young adults, and we're in a wildfire. And the governor just started this program as well to bring awareness as well. And it's the things that the judge is talking about.
It starts at the first level, like we had the synthetic. I was very active on trying to get that stuff off the streets.
Marijuana,
synthetic, the chemical-induced so-called marijuana cigarette. And so that kind of went down. But now you got this vaping, and just to let you know, Joe, I'm on the board of directors for the American Heart Association. So we are partnered up with CCISD, Tuloso ISD, Cal Allen ISD on trying to find some policies or some way of letting the schools know that we're working on trying to eradicate the vaping issues we have here, because as Carlos has said, and we were discussing on the break, the gates are opened up already. So it's going to lead to higher drugs, lead to crime, lead to dropouts, and I think what the governor has done is a
step in the right direction.
Exactly. Yes.
Absolutely, Joe, because we're going to be facing an epidemic. This is going to become the state of Ohio, Joe, soon. There were just, a gentleman was saying a few minutes ago that they're going to have that Narcan available in the streets in Austin already.
So like in a vending machine, I think Bill on the break, our executive producer, said they're going to be publicly accessible.
Because people, it starts, like the judge says, very innocently from this level, and it graduates to this next level, and then the next level, and if we don't stop that cancer, this next generation is going to be plagued with a lot of problems.
Well, let's go globally, okay? Everybody points the finger at the cartel, right, and say they're putting fentanyl in Xanax or bars, as they call them, or in Lortab or any kind of drug, and then people are overdosing. They want to give them that high, that effect, and so they're overdosing. Now, are you seeing kids using drugs that are laced with fentanyl, Judge?
Not yet. But I don't know if County Court Law 5, my colleague, Judge McCoy, I'm pretty sure he's dealt with it, but not at my level. What I do see is that the parents really don't understand what the vaping's all about, or understand the harmful effects of vaping. The students don't know what they're doing, and those teenagers just look because they think it's cool. But what's happening is that now I'm trying to educate these parents, I'm trying to educate these students in the courtroom about how harmful the vaping is, and also the chemicals that are in that vaping. And
well, you don't know if it's marijuana. Sometimes you mention that they're being able to manipulate it, swap it out, but this is violating federal law. They're bringing in Colorado stuff or ordering it, or getting it, or somebody's bringing it over and giving it to them. Carlos, what solutions are there, that you're seeing? You mentioned $1 billion that's being injected by the governor.
By the governor, because I think he needs to bring awareness to this problem that is going to plague the state of Texas, Joe. And it will have a domino effect of failures, Joe, if we don't cut this at the path, because the problems with hospitalizations and people overdosing economically, people get addicted and they're not working. They're just basically, and then you have to do so much more, Joe, to try to get this person back and rehab that person to be back as much as possible if they even have a chance, Joe. And that's stealing somebody's life if we don't address it.
The enemy wants us to have a divided democracy where we're so apart. The enemy wants our young weak, and then the elderly not taken care of, and the workforce just mindless and on drugs, right? So then they win.
Sure.
So, I mean, what initiatives can we do? You mentioned the one that's coming up about the anti-vaping, and it's a great idea to start them young. But a lot of people, and I hear this from parents saying, it's too late, he's 15, I'm not going to change him. How do you respond to that?
The way I respond to that is it's never too late.
No.
And that's the child, a young person that doesn't know what he or she is really doing. And it is never too late. And what I say to everyone is that, we just need to, and I believe in this, you have to educate the parents. Because the parents really, to be honest with you, don't understand what that vape consists of. Even the kids don't understand what the vape consists of. And I have day in and day out trying to hammer that into the parents and into the child. Because right now we have issues. It's a costly issue. Because you're looking at the economic engines around the coastal bend. They're not going to hire someone that's on drugs. They're not going to hire someone that's a dropout. They're not going to hire. That's how these large corporations come into the coastal bend. They do the demographics. What is the education level here? 7.5. That's the latest. 7.5.
Seventh grade?
So, and not only is that the issue is that you have a lot of kids that haven't graduated from school, a lot of kids that can't pass a drug test. Young adults that can't pass a drug test. A lot of young adults that didn't finish school. And those economic engines around here, they're not going to want people that can't pass a drug test, that aren't educated at the minimum a high school diploma.
Yeah, you walk in public and you can smell that smell. As Leonard Skinner used to say, can't you smell that smell, right? So even in public, it has become not a cult or hidden. They're doing it right out in front of everybody's nose because they think they don't know if it's a cigarette or not. You, as a communicator and a broadcaster, what is your plan to make it more aware? Educate the parents.
34 years that we've been on the air, Joe, and we've always have promoted this community to not do any drugs, to stay in school. It seems a very basic type of thing, but it's a conversation with the community always to take care of your children, to be aware of what they're watching on their computers, be aware of what's happening in their schools. Talk to your children, because if you do not talk to your children, somebody else is going to talk to those children, Joe. And that's when they get lost.
With handcuffs and a rope.
Absolutely. And prior to that, Joe, it's the bad people that are around those children, getting them to do things that they probably normally wouldn't have done. But sometimes I'm too busy. Well, I'm too busy with my own career. No, you have to make time. If you are a parent, you have to make time for your children, Joe. If God bless you, those children, that's your reward from God, Joe. You have to realize that. He gave them to you, not for you to just put them in front of a television or let somebody else raise your kids. You have to attend to them and watch, because the world is a very nasty world, Joe. As Stallone say, and he will beat you to the ground and keep you there forever.
That's right.
If you don't, it's not how hard you get hit, but how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. If you do not do your due diligence with your children, Joe, they're going to end up with him one day. And they're going to end up from this court, and that child is going to graduate to a bigger court, and county court or district court, and you will have lost a beautiful gift that God gave you. I don't want that in my hands. I want to make sure our children are well taken care of. And that's why we promote things like that on the radio for many, many years, because it's important, Joe, to do that, to bring that type of awareness. We don't want that for our kids. 1990,
300,000 prisoners in America, now 2 million. Case in point.
The numbers don't lie, Joe.
Yeah, numbers don't lie. That's Pew Charitable Trust. And let me ask you this. You often have to discipline the parent and the child. Without mentioning names, didn't you have a parent, and we won't mention gender, go in like they own the joint, verbally abuse or attempted to your staff and you had to put them in their place? Well, talk to me about instances like that where they don't understand or respect authority.
I think parents are frustrated, and they don't know where to go, Joe.
Okay.
And I think that, like Carlos has said, that, those are our children. Those are citizens that are going to be here. And believe it or not, they are going to be the future leaders of this community. And my objective now is I've shifted from one point to another one, and we just try, and the key word is to communicate with the parents, the school, and the child, and try to get a partnership with everyone and making sure that the kid understands how harmful this stuff is. And coming in disrespectful, coming in aggressive is not going to solve the problem. We just have to find solutions to combat the harmful effects of vaping, period.
Well, it's patience with the parents that don't understand what's going on. It's the frustration.
Joe, the fact that the judge can be considered to a parent or a parent's harsh. He was kind of tough on us. He was mean. He was rude the way he treated us. No, wait a minute. It's love. You're confusing what he's doing. It's not anger. It's love. He has to do that in order for the entire family to understand the danger of this.
In a day and age where anybody says, oh, if I don't like what the district attorney's doing, I'll file some frivolous lawsuit. Prosecutors have an absolute discretion, judges do, but now we're seeing with the internet, and you, a master of the media, you understand it, that anybody can pick up their phone and just wreak havoc and just be rebels and not have any respect for institutions. What's your take on that, Judge?
Well, I think that what's most important is that, as Carlos has said, you have said, it takes a whole community, a whole village to conquer this vaping issue. We did it with the synthetic. We did it with the huffing of paint and fumes and lighter fluid. We just have to stick together, communicate, and just try so hard to reach out to nonprofits that deal with this. The American Heart Association is on board with me on what I'm doing with these parents and kids on educating them on the vaping issue.
20 seconds left. Carlos, any final statements on this?
I just applaud the judge for everything he's done in our community. He's a former Marine. His father was a very dear friend of mine who served our nation as well. I loved him very much, Mr. Benavides. May he rest in peace and have him with my father. But that's where he learned to be a leader. And it takes good leaders like him to make our community better.
Judge, any last words for the parents out there? I know that you try to be compassionate with them and their children.
Yes. To all the parents out there that have kids that are in elementary school, I do have that contest that's going. The cutoff date is April 21st. Please submit your essays on the harmful effects of vaping and a poster. Submit it to 901 Leopard Street, courtroom 116. And just walk it up there and drop it off. And then we have a committee that will select the winner of the poster essay contest on the harmful effects of vaping. And if there's any issues or anything they need to know about vaping, please contact my office at 888-0201.
And lastly, we'll be playing this all summer. How can people get help or learn more? Through the American Heart Association?
Through the American Heart Association. Call my office. We have a couple of nonprofits that deal with the vaping issues.
Yes, sir.
And lastly, I wanted to say everyone on TV land, happy belated Easter, because when this is put out on TV, Easter Sunday, so.
And we're going to be playing at Easter, 4th of July, Labor Day, because I think it's that important. And remember, get help. Thank you, gentlemen, for everything and for being on here. We are out of time. Thank you all, and God bless.